The Israeli troops are now in the heart of the Gaza City. An Israeli aerial bombardment and also the ground operations in the besieged Gaza Strip have so far killed over 10,800 Palestinians. And eventually, after many days of negotiations, Israel reportedly has agreed to what are being described as humanitarian pauses. And this is only to allow the besieged Palestinian people to flee from their homes. The American President Joe Biden says that he welcomes these so-called humanitarian pauses. The World Health Organization has said the bombardment of Gaza's biggest hospital, Al-Shifa, is the latest addition to the list of over 20 hospitals in the Gaza Strip that are now currently out of service.
Yes, we're getting reports now that increasing numbers of hospitals are no longer functioning. The information I have at the moment is that there are only, we've got 20 hospitals out of action. And I haven't got the detail on Al-Shifa as yet, but we do know that they are coming under bombardment. And we also know that there was significant bombardment of Rantisi Hospital, which is the only hospital providing pediatric services in North Gaza. And in that hospital were a number of children who were on life support and children receiving dialysis, things that you cannot possibly evacuate them safely with.
The Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has said that the Israeli offensive at the Al-Shifa hospital is designed to root out Hamas fighters who are operating from the vicinity. Yoav Gallant claimed that the IDF is using new methods to try and destroy the tunnels underneath the Gaza Strip.
הלוחמים בעזה נמצאים בלב העיר עזה. הם נמצאים בפאתי שתי, הם נמצאים סמוך לבית החולים שיפה, הם נמצאים סמוך מאוד לנמל עזה. אלה שנמצאים, המחבלים, במרתפים שמתחת לשיפה, שומעים הערב היטב את רעם שרשראות הטנקים, את הדחפורים שנוגחים בשטח, הם שומעים מתחת לאדמה, שומעים ורועדים מפחד.
Now, the Israeli Defense Forces have also released a video that claims to give more evidence about the misuse of hospitals in the Gaza Strip, where thousands of innocent Palestinian civilians have taken refuge. Now, in this video, one of the captured Hamas fighters talks about how the Al-Shifa hospital had been used by the resistance forces.
شبكة كبيرة مش صغيرة الشبكة تبعها في بتخابوا في شيفا المسائل هذه اللي بقعدوا في شيفا منهم من حسب رأيك؟ الكبار زي الصنواع زي هذول كلهم بيقعدوا هناك الكبيرة السياسية والعسكرية كلهم بيقعدوا هناك وشو كمان بناخذوا باستراتيجية.
All right, now that was a video that was released by the Israelis with the captured Hamas fighters there. Meanwhile, a huge cloud of smoke was seen rising over the northern part of Gaza Strip because of the Israeli bombardments. Now, Israeli air bombings have targeted infrastructure, and this is what the scene looks like in one of the most densely populated cities anywhere in the world. Now, Israeli forces have tightened security for the Friday prayers at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. The worshippers, of course, gather there to offer their afternoon prayers every Friday. Meanwhile, Israel has finally now agreed to 4 hours of military pauses in the northern part of Gaza. The American National Security spokesperson John Kirby said that there will be 2 humanitarian corridors for people who want to flee from the northern part of Gaza because of the Israeli bombardments. Now, the agreement was later detailed by the State Department. Turkey has sent a ship loaded with some field hospital equipment, ambulances and generators to Egypt. The ship carrying nearly about 51 containers of medical supplies, generators and 20 ambulances is expected to arrive at Egypt's Al-Arish port by the 11th of November. As we speak at this moment, more than 10,800 people in the Palestinian occupied territories have been killed in this campaign of relentless bombing of the Gaza Strip. An estimated 20,000 plus people have been very grievously injured. 1 million people have been displaced from their homes. 1/3 of the region has been turned into virtual flat rubble land. The thousands, of course, are fleeing with nothing more than the clothes on their back. They're walking with their young children along with the elderly people, and those who are lucky can rent some of these carts, which are now taking people away from the areas that are experiencing relentless bombardment by the Israelis. And many people are saying that this is, of course, bringing back horrific memories of the Nakba. And our correspondent Susan Tehrani has been tracking the story very closely for us and has briefed about Israel's tactical humanitarian pauses. Listen in.
Facing mounting pressure from his own party here at home and allies abroad, U.S. President Joe Biden seems to have convinced Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to agree for a short-term temporary humanitarian pause for Israel's operations in Gaza. This, as we also learned on Thursday, that CIA and Mossad officials met with Qatari officials in Doha about the possibility to release some hostages from Hamas captivity. More than one or two. The number was around 10 to 30. We'll have to see how that develops. But Israel, on the one hand, is concerned that any pause or even talk of a ceasefire would play into Hamas's hands. It also understands that that window of opportunity for support for Israel's operations in Gaza is growing smaller and smaller. And the longer this operation takes, the less support Israel may have, not among its own public, but from the international community, notably, once again, Democrats here in the United States as well. For the Biden administration, how successful this balancing act that it's trying to carry out will be ultimately is something that we'll have to wait and see. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.